Welcome to Know Thy Neighbor, presented by Disaster Party Podcast, baby.
Oh,
So this is our, how do you want to call it? Our our idea of a new series on our podcast channel called Know Thy Neighbor. And what we're doing here is we're basically we want to get to know people better. And we thought that this would be a way that we can kind of share someone's story on a deeper level. And, maybe that story will help somebody or they can relate to them or, use it as motivation or anything like that. So, Andy and I have volunteered to go first. Andy volunteered to go first. I'm gonna go second. So we're just gonna kind of see how it goes. Um, yeah. So why don't we just start this? I mean, we all know Andy. We all know Rob, as we have been doing podcasts for almost a year now. So Andy,
crazy.
why don't we start this as knowing thy neighbor? So what would you want people to know about you as like your neighbor? If you're going to introduce yourself to your neighbor, what would you want them to know about you? Including name.
Um,
They don't know your name yet.
oh, they don't know my name.
Yeah, you have to pretend they do not know you.
Damn, I'm still not famous. No. I'd probably be like, "Hello, my name is Andy Bivians. I like long walks on the beach, candlelit dinners, long walks to the mirror. I love sticking my face for daddy." No. Um, well, my name is Andy Bivians. Athlete, professional wrestler. Um, love all things comics, all things horror movies. I currently, um, yeah, yeah, um, yeah. I don't know what else I would say. Like, hey, what's up? What's good?
Well, you could tell them your age. You could tell them what you do outside of wrestling. You could tell them what are your passions. You could tell them if you have,
Okay.
your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband, your dog, your cat. I just gave you a bunch.
We going deep off the cuff.
I mean, that's not deep. That's like, hey, I got mom, dad. I got two brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like
All right, fair enough, fair
that's not
enough.
deep.
I'll try it again then. I'll try it again from the top. We going live, pal. We live. So my name is Andy Bivians. I am 33. I am an Aries, born
Ooh.
in March 31st. I currently am a active professional wrestler. I am currently studying real estate, um, mainly focusing on wholesaling right now because I think that's the biggest way that you can get assets to do bigger things. Um, Currently learning crypto from my good friend Rob over here.
What?
Into stocks a little bit, not too much. Mom's still with me. I have an older sister and I have a step brother. My dad passed away a couple years ago. Um, I have a cat. He's black. His name's Salem. Tried to name him Raven, but he wouldn't respond. It's really crazy because you think like cats are cats and dogs are dogs, but no, I think he thinks he's a dog. Uh, um, yeah, currently in the process of trying to write my first ever comic book to come out next month. Fingers crossed. Um, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So now it's my job to ask questions.
Now it's your job to deep dive.
Okay. So what would you say your relationship is with your mom and your father who passed away? Explain
Okay,
your relationships um in the level of like your relationship with them overall,
okay,
who you had a better relationship with and why.
okay. Um, So, I mean, I've been close to both of them. My dad passed away a couple years due to a massive heart attack. That has been hard on me. I mean, my sister lived with my dad, and I lived with my mom ever since I was little. And I've had a great relationship with both of them, even though I didn't see my dad a lot. Me and him talked on the phone. And I got to go see him whenever I could, not as much as I wanted to or should have, but hindsight is 2020. Um, Mom's amazing. She's always supported me in anything that I wanted to do. She now loves the fact that I wrestle, and I can't not get her to go to a show. She even like it's crazy. Like I wrestled for OTW for since I started for so many years, and now that they've kind of went on like a back end, so to speak, because of the pandemic and everything, like she still sees people who have wrestled for on that roster, and even though I'm not on the card, she'll drive 3.5 hours just to go see their match and support them.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's crazy. And so she's been like a huge staple in my life, and like has kind of taught me what it means to have like hard work and dedication to something, and to kind of keep pushing forward. Dad, on the other hand, has is the one that got me into wrestling when I was younger. You guys probably heard it from the wrestling episode, but when I was younger, he used to watch ECW. I watched what was WWF at the time, and we would battle back and forth on what company was the best. Just like any father and his kid, he pulled out the pillows, put it on the floor, and like we started like wrestling around on the floor. We did that for like hours, and Dad was kind of like the reason why I started wrestling, and we would talk on the phone, and he'd be like, "You did you see this new wrestling magazine, or you see this new bodybuilding magazine? Like you should try this, or you should get into this." And yeah.
All right. Cool. Cool. All right. So, what would you say? That seems to kind of go into this next question, or maybe not. Maybe there's more. Uh, what would you say an impactful childhood memory would be?
Like overall, or
Yeah, I mean, whatever however you want to take that question. If you want to tie it into what you were just saying, or overall, or just something that stands out that if you can be like, oh, I still remember I was in that spot.
um, hmm, overall childhood memory. I mean, I don't know why it keeps coming to my head, and we said we were gonna be semi like open on this. So, it was Christmas time. My sister was getting mad at me because we were playing basketball. She's gonna hate me for telling this story. I don't even know if she remembers this story. So she was getting mad at me because I kept stealing the ball and I kept shooting it. So she was like pouting. And there's a video somewhere I have on VHS where she walks past the camera, and she must have like thrown something at me or like hit me and like walked away with a hair dryer. And then like 3 seconds go by, and you see this big ass box just fly across the screen, and you hear, "Ah!" I guess I threw a box at her head. I don't know why that just popped in my mind. So there's that. Yeah, just Christmas at Dad's. Like I'd go to his house on Christmas Eve, and like I would open up toys Christmas Day like every other year, and then I'd come home and like spend Christmas night with Mom, or like vice versa, like the next year. Um, or just going to wrestling shows when I was younger, and like I remember going to Elmira, New York, and I must have been it was in like my early teens, and we were having breakfast, and all of a sudden I look up, Booker T and RVD are in our hotel having breakfast,
That's
and I'm
cool.
like going crazy. Um, but yeah, um, some memories that I can think of.
All right, all right. I'm just trying to organize these questions.
Great.
All right. So this one might be a little bit more difficult, but I'm gonna follow it up with a nicer one.
Okay.
Okay. What is your worst, most difficult, or hardest memory or moment, if you can remember?
Ooh, difficult or hardest
Like if
memory.
you were to look back at your life and be like, that day or that moment or that thing was the worst thing I've ever dealt with.
Um,
And that could be a lot of different things for different people.
I mean, there's a lot of memories where got into trouble as a kid, but um, actually no, I'd probably have to go with dad dying. And it's weird that I'm bringing that up and that this is a question because I just had this deja vu the other day. So, once the pandemic happened, like I quit Golds because there's no point to go if the gym is closed, and so I only had Planet. And I recently decided that Planet Fitness doesn't have the equipment that I need, so I'm gonna go back to Golds. I went back to Golds and I walked into the locker room in Fishkill and I stopped for a second. So when I found out my father died, my sister called me and it was in the locker room in Golds in Fishkill, and I was standing in the exact same spot. And I realized that since that moment, I haven't been back to Golds in Fishkill, and I didn't realize it
Wow.
until recently when I had that moment, and I was like, oh. And I think the reason why that moment is the hardest on me right now is because that kind of shifted almost everything for me. Um, and that time period too. Like I lost my father, and then literally the next week, I lost one of my closest friends. My friend's sister passed away, so it was like I felt like I had to be stronger for everybody else than myself. So I bottled up myself, but in doing so, I was killing myself that entire time because like I didn't want to wrestle anymore. I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to do anything. Like my mind was just like in a bad place for a long time. And getting out of that was a struggle. Even now, like thinking back on it sometimes, like it hits you hard to where it's just like I remember we were in Maryland for a conference. We were fine. That's the year we closed down the bar for karaoke. Everybody's like, we want to be a part of your pack. Da 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 da.
Yep.
And like everything was good. And then we got on the bus ride home, and like I wanted nothing to do with anything. Like I just threw my hood up and just sat in the corner and just stayed there, and like yeah, it was a dark time.
Yeah. No, I could relate. I could definitely relate. All right, so let's move on to a better thing.
All right.
What is your happiest, most memorable memory or moment
Happiest moment.
or best, whatever wording that you want to use?
I feel like there's so many of them. I
Well,
don't
then
know, like
name a couple.
name a couple. Graduating twice was a happy moment just because I got to see like my family proud of me in that moment. Um, Wrestling for OTW and winning their heavyweight championship was a proud moment for me just because like when we were kids, like we'd rent out the ring and like play and like we didn't know what we were doing, and then like having that one night kind of was like a culmination of everything coming together, being like, oh, your hard work paid off, so to speak. Your childhood dream paid off. Um, I'm trying to think of like something outside of wrestling because I feel like all of my answers deal with wrestling. Um, Happy moment. Um, Actually, I think like a lot of my happy moments come from like helping people kind of turn towards something that they want to do, or helping them realize something that they want to do, or pushing them to like be able to accomplish things that they want to do. And you know
Anyone
thus
specific or anything specific?
um Not that I could say. I
Okay.
don't think. Just because of
Yeah.
it's not my story to tell.
Even
Uh,
okay. Because they would know even if you didn't say names.
so like I helped like one person was in a bad spot and like they hated like where they were working and they wanted that upgrade and then when they went for the first one it got shut down and it was a surprise to everybody and I'm like listen like you got to do what you want to do like if you want this other spot like go for it so a couple weeks pass and then they're like there's another spot that's opening up kind of want to go for it I'm like listen push for that um, and you'll get it. Like they'll be stupid not to give it to you. And it came down to a point where it was just like, oh, they called me to come like this far out to go for a meeting. They're probably just gonna tell me I didn't have it. And I'm like, if they tell you you didn't have it and you went that far, fuck them and quit now. like, and sure enough, they came back and they got it, and they've been killing the game ever since. That and I have this weird, horrible um I don't know what to call it, but like if somebody comes to me and tells me like, "Hey, this is what I'm passionate about," I can give you a whole business idea in like 10 seconds. it's awesome and a curse at the same time because my mind will stick on that and be like, "Oh, that's a good idea." And then you can do this and this and this and this, this and this. Um, I don't know if that answers the question, but I think
Uh,
I just went on a long like
it
detour.
went around. It went around. It went around. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I think we know the answer to this one, so I think we can avoid this one.
Okay.
Um. All right. How about uh maybe this one? Let's see. Do you have one most cherished memory?
One most
Like,
cherished
what's your?
memory.
It doesn't even have to be anything crazy. Like, it could just be like you just sitting there with someone having like a deep conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Because some people
Um,
might think that needs to be like some crazy idea or something like that.
I mean, I've had a couple instances recently where I've talked to people I've trained with just to kind of get in their mindset of like, what made you quit and follow your dream, or what made you like get into this, and a lot of it was just like them betting on themselves. Um, I guess recently, of course, it deals with wrestling. I guess that's my life. Wrestling for the Hartford Connecticut. Like when I was younger, I would go to Comic Con in New York City and be like, "Yo, this would be dope if like I was brought in as like a guest and like I got my own table and like this would be cool." And I remember talking to Jess and being like, "Yo, if this comic flies, like we're gonna have our own panel and it's gonna be dope and we're gonna be sitting here and like." I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool to wrestle." And then this year, I not only was brought in as a guest, got my own pass, got to walk around and see it, but I also got to wrestle at a convention as a cosplayer. So it was like all of that hit, all goals got hit in like one weekend.
Nice. So you
Yeah.
would say that that would be your most cherished memory of your entire life.
See, I don't know if I could say that.
All right. So, like I said, if you can't answer that question, that's fine. I know a
I
lot
mean,
of
I
these
guess.
questions are kind of like some of them need a little bit more thought.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you pass or like
I
you can't think,
mean,
or we can go back.
let's go back to that one because
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
sure
Okay.
there's another one.
All right. So these are two weird questions.
Okay.
So you can answer both at the same time. I'll ask them both at the same time, or you can answer one and not the other.
Okay.
All right. Have you had any near death experiences or supernatural experiences?
Near death, yes.
Oh, you're going to have to explain.
So, well,
You can't just say yes and then just drop it.
well, I not no, because that one doesn't really go. I didn't die.
Well, near death.
Well, yeah, true. Um, These questions really make you think.
I know that's the point. That's the exciting part.
The only thing I can think of was the ATV accident. In my head, I could have died
Okay.
if I landed the wrong. So, me and my friends, who I'll leave their names out, but those of you who hear this know I've told this story a bunch of times. We thought it was a good idea to attach a trailer hitch to an ATV via like a cable wire. Like, I'm not talking about like a wire like this. I'm talking about the little gimmicks you used to screw in the back of your TV so that way you can get like cable to, yeah, those. And we rode around on it for like a good like 2.5 hours, and like we got ice cream and everything. So we're going back, and our buddy decides to throw it in third gear. It shatters the rims. Okay, wire snaps. Me and my buddy fly 10 feet up in the air, 10 feet out. I literally Superman the ground with my head on my shoulder. Apparently knocked myself out. It looks like somebody took a knife to my shoulder and like cut all the skin off the top of my shoulder and took it and like put it in my hand and just went like this. And then when I came to, my knee was messed up, my shoulder was all screwed up, and we put the trailer hitch back on the ATV and awkwardly rode it in first gear back to their house because we were pretty far away from the house. Thinking back to it now, like, if I would have landed any differently than I did, I probably wouldn't be sitting here giving this story. Um, Supernatural experiences? No.
Okay.
But maybe like, I don't know, it's weird. Like, maybe like signs, so to speak.
Okay. But not anything
So,
like too popped in your face, like, whoa, that was weird.
well, not like, I remember I was sleeping at my ex's house once, and I was on the couch, and I kept feeling like something was standing over me, like from behind. And for some reason, like, I don't know if it's because I watched too many horror movies or what, but in Insidious, like, you know how they're just standing in the corner, but they're staring at you? Well, this one felt like they were standing behind the back of the couch and just standing there. And it felt like somebody was staring at me the entire time.
That's
And
weird.
they used to always say, like, that house was haunted, that house was haunted, but I didn't think of anything of it. And it was very weird that at that moment, those two things popped in my head. And like I said, I don't know. It could be me watching too many horror movies or what have you. But um, other signs were like, mine and Dad's favorite movie was Escape from New York.
Okay.
And I was having a pretty shitty week, and I went to Comic-Con. And for the first time ever, I saw an Escape from New York figure just
Nice.
chilling there. And I've not, all the cons I've been to, I've never seen anything that remotely even dealt with Escape from New York. And then that one was right there, and I was like, okay, all right, I get the sign. Like, you're still watching.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. So it looks like we have a couple more questions, but I'm going to save the bottom ones for last. So
Okay.
this one I'm going to ask, and then everything else is like more motivational stuff.
Okay.
All right. So talk about your experience in a world event. So like we were born in the 80s, so like our world events would probably be like 9/11 or 2008 recession or even COVID. Um, I mean, we're still going through COVID, so maybe we don't need to talk about that. But like, if you have any memories, because I know like some people, like for 9/11, they know exactly where they were, all this shit. For 2008, I know some people who don't really have memories because like the parents kind of hid that stuff because we were still young enough that we weren't really aware.
Yeah. So 9/11, I was actually in school, and came over the radio, it came over like the TV, and like literally everybody stopped what they were doing to like watch and see what was going on. And then they were like, if you have anybody who lives in the area or any family or loved ones that you have that live in the area, like, go home now. And at the time, my dad was in he lived in the city. He was an architect in the city, but he also taught swimming classes at the YMCA. And so we would try to call him. We tried to call him like all day. Nothing. No service. Couldn't get a hold of him. Um, and I remember going home thinking the worst. But luckily, thank God that he was fine. The trains and everything were backed up because of everything that was going on. And I just remember panic. Like my mom's my mom's coworker's husband was in the building and didn't get out alive and didn't make it out. Um, and I remember like hanging out with him and his wife like a couple weeks like beforehand, just playing with their cat and stuff. So like, um, people were either extremely mad or extremely upset, but you could see like very different like emotions that were connected through everybody. Um, with this pandemic now, um, it's crazy. I think through the shutdown, like a lot of it had to deal with like a lot of people's mental health, you know? Um, and for me, not being able to wrestle, not having the gym, literally going to work and coming home, and where I worked being surrounded by COVID and everything, and hearing it there, and then coming home and hearing it at home, and you were just trapped. And um, it's a crazy time where you realize like everything that you never thought could be taken away from you has, and people getting sick and people, losing their lives. Like it's insane.
Yeah, it is. You're right. All right, let's see. All right, what about this one? What, if you have, what would you say your biggest regret would be, if you have one?
Biggest regret. Um, Waiting,
Okay.
not fully listening to myself, letting outside voices get into your head, and not betting on yourself to go all in. Um, a lot of the times you see one thing as it is, and you're stuck in that mindset, right? Like everybody needs this job to be able to function and pay their bills and do this and do that. But there's also 50 other million jobs out there that you can do that will do the same thing, or that you can create something yourself that the world needs, but you don't trust yourself enough to be able to try and put effort towards that. Um, and I guess the biggest regret is like not doing more, or being so closed off, or becoming another person that you cater to others, or you cater to the world itself, instead of like being that bright light to shine, create something new, and almost influence others, or give the okay to others that it's okay for others to be themselves as well.
Yep. All right. This one kind of ties in with that. So, what what advice would you give your younger self? And there's a and why, but I think it could tie into what you were saying. So maybe the why
Okay.
you just kind of explained.
Um, don't worry about the social norms, and don't worry about what has been ingrained in you to do. If you feel like you have something that you want to do that is not on the same path as everybody else, you're young. Take that chance and run for it. You know, worst case scenario, it doesn't work out in 3 years and you can come right back and do something different, or go back to where you were before, but just take that chance and take that leap, and and bet on yourself. It's funny because I heard a quote the other day that said, "Fear is scary, but the unknown is the fun part." Everybody's afraid of the unknown, but the unknown is what creates adventures. The unknown is what creates memories. None of us know what's going to happen until it happens. Um, don't be afraid of that. Look it in the face and face it.
True, true. All right, two more.
All right.
Mm, let's do this one and then that one. So, where do you see yourself in 5, 10, 25, retirement age, whatever? If you want to do 5, 10, 15, or you want to do 10, 20, 30, or 50 and then retirement, or yeah, where do you see yourself?
Um, Happy and successful.
Okay.
Before I would have been like the biggest house on the biggest side of town with the most money. Whoa, daddy. While I still want all of that, and I still am and will build my bat cave. Um, just just being happy, being able to build a brand that can help others, that will not only help myself but also help my future family, whenever that may be. Um, 5 years from now, I hope to be almost a completely different person.
Okay.
The way I mean by that is in a different position that I am now. And a better position that I am now. And 10 years from now, 20 years from now, retirement, I'm happy. I've helped people. Um, I've made a statement or a legacy in life that I'm able to leave, for my kids and for others that are close to me. Um, and to be one of the most well-known professional wrestlers in the world.
Do it.
Facts.
All right. Last question.
Last.
This could be a tricky one.
Okay.
Okay. What is a decision that you've made that has changed the direction of your life?
Ooh, what
One
is the
decision that you
decision?
can you can look back and go, that one decision there, instead of a left or a right, made my life go.
Um, Fuck it. So, as of hearing this Friday, I will have quit my job and decided to take a chance on myself. And whether it be going full in on wrestling, but just creating that brand that I was just talking about, of being able to help people. And I think making the decision to quit is what changed the trajectory of my life, because there I felt like I was stuck. I loved it. I still love it. I love everybody that's there. I mean, we have our squirrels here and there, but like, who doesn't? But it was an office position. And anybody who knows me, I'm just a natural born entertainer. And I tried to take what I had and kind of like use what I had to my advantage and kind of like play with the cards you're dealt, so to speak. But I was only able to customize it so much. I was still stuck. I was still handcuffed. And feeling handcuffed, I started to realize like it was changing me. Like, I was miserable being there. Like, I was walking every day of my life, and it's like, life is short. Like, if I die tomorrow, am I gonna look back and be like, I was happy I went to my 9 to 5 yesterday and had a couple laughs? No. So now it's like, I'm still young. I can still figure it out. I have some backup deals, but like, it's time to go all in for me. And A lot of people don't see the positivity in that. A lot of people think I'm crazy for doing it. A lot of people um, tell me to be realistic, which I'm going to go deep for a little bit. If you ever tell somebody to be realistic, I'm talking to everybody. You ever tell somebody to be realistic? Fuck you. Here's why I say that. Because you telling them to be realistic is you shitting on their dreams or shitting on their potential to literally do something amazing in this world. Because not everybody has the power to be like, oh, they're just saying that because they're jealous, or oh, they're just saying that because they don't understand my vision. And a lot of people stop themselves and stop doing what they're doing because they hear, be realistic. That's never going to happen. So if you say that to somebody, respectfully, fuck you.
Word. Yeah. So okay, that was I mean that was good, man. I enjoyed it. Got to know a little bit more, a little deeper stuff. That's good. So was it bad?
No, no, it
No.
was. It's hard to think of things like on the spot too, because like I'm still trying to think of the favorite moment, and I can't think of like I'm sure I will probably get off and I'll be laying down and be like, damn,
Ah.
I should have said this. I should have said that. But
So the goal of this is like we have a list of questions, but we're not always going to hit every single question. We'll probably add questions. We'll probably take questions off. Again, we're still trying this out. I didn't. There's like 3 or 4 questions on the list that I didn't ask you. Um, so again, this is all trial and error. There will probably be many more questions added. We'll probably target the questions on how the conversation's going. You don't want to like off topic too much. But yeah, it was a good flow. And
very interesting.
that's Know Thy Neighbor episode 1. Andy B, the Whoa Daddy.
Whoa, daddy.
All right, so
Whoa.
guys, as always, remember to listen to this, rate it, tell us what you think. Again, this is a new concept, this is a new series, so please, like, if you made it all the way through this, tell us what you thought. Text, email, comment, subscribe, put it on Instagram, anything. Just put it up there. Let's see what you guys think, how we can improve it, how we could make it better, whatever the case may be. As always, remember to like, share, rate, review, comment, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms, including Apple Podcasts. So give us a 5 star. YouTube, so you can see the video version of this. Um, Next week, I will be in the hot seat with the questions.
Ooh.
Once I get back from my all-inclusive vacation in the DR, baby.
Ooh, whoa, daddy.
So, I'm gonna go finish packing.
Word.
This was fun.
This was very fun and
I can't wait
interesting.
to be in the hot seat next week.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Yes, sir. And we are out. Bye. Bye.